Civility is always in style. It's been a crazy making time during the last 2 years with COVID and all the things that are taking place. But in spite of all of that, it's amazing the good things that are going on. And so one of the things we try to do with Powell to the People is bring guests on board that are doing some outstanding things in the community, and also to share with you what's taking place, so you'll get an opportunity maybe to put a few dollars in and help them out and keep these good things going. We talk here about politics, education, religion, technology, sports, values, healthy communities, and you also can hear Good News with Larry Powell every Monday through Friday at 10 and at 4. And if you want to just be pumped up, there's a good news story for you. And then if you want to go to Spotify, download Spotify to your smartphone and go on Facebook, YouTube. There are a variety of ways to stream the show so that you can hear it when it's convenient for you. But you're going to hear this show, on Sunday at 6 o'clock. But that's what time we're at right now. But boy, I'll tell you what, there's some really good things happening in our community. And I've got with me today a really good guest who, I don't know if he's always been a cowboy, but he's always looked like a cowboy. And this is my good friend, Guy Adams from Heart of the Horse Therapy Ranch. Guy, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I've always dressed like a cowboy, even growing up in East San Jose. So,
man, tell me a little bit of what it was like growing up in San Jose in those days.
It was a little bit rough. I grew up in a little area called Taco Flats.
Okay.
By the time I came out of high school, I'd been stabbed a few times, shot, and
wow.
Gave me a good story for Bill Glass Ministries when I went and spoke with them for a while. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
So what did your dad do? What was the family like for you during those days? And
well, my dad was born on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. We're Ogallala Sioux.
Yeah.
Him and my mom divorced, and then she remarried. I ended up with the last name Adams when I was adopted by another man. And,
okay.
Those times with my mom were great. My dad, he was kind of a crazy man. It made me mean and bitter. And by the time I was 8 years old, he was gone. And
wow.
And I grew up on the streets and was on my own at about the age 15, pretty much roaming around and just trying to do my own thing. And
sure.
And met a great young lady, and we started dating. And she came with horses, and we rode all over San Jose. And
wow.
Decided at a certain point I was done with school, went and got a job with Coca-Cola, and never looked back.
Is that right? It's really interesting. And her name is Carrie.
Carrie, yeah.
Yeah, and Guy and Carrie Adams. And we're going to talk about the Heart of the Horse Therapy Ranch, because I think some of those early experiences that the Lord allows us to have
Amen.
Lead to the positive things that he wants us to do at some time in the future. So you probably never thought about it, but you're now ministering to an amazing group of people, and we're going to get into that a lot more. But it was not an easy bringing up for you.
No.
And yet, when you look at and folks, you're going to hear some great stories today about individuals and some in our armed services that are receiving the program that you have. It really is neat what God has done, and where we were and where we end up, and how he takes care of us with that. Well, I know you grew up a millionaire, right?
Yeah, just loaded with cash.
So, and for most of us who did not grow up with money, me included, but I was fortunate. I grew up in a home where mom and dad were Christians. They loved me. It was, an amazing life for me. But we didn't grow up with money, and so to see us in the future, we didn't necessarily see us being able to own a horse therapy ranch or, those kinds of things. Was that ever something you thought about at the time you were growing up?
Never. Now, let me preface this with saying I had the most wonderful mother.
Wonderful.
She did everything she could for us three boys.
Yeah.
We always say, well, where were their parents? Well, my mom was there all the time, but
wow.
I was the one making the mistakes.
Yeah, I hear
not
you.
My mother. And growing up without a man in the house, I kind of leaned towards the wrong men in my life growing up.
Pretty typical.
Yeah, it is typical. And that's where I made a lot of my mistakes by, taking bad advice.
Yeah.
And when God finally got a hold of me at a Promise Keepers event.
Oh, I love it.
I was talked into going by my 11-year-old son at the time. And
Is that right?
I stopped at this place at about, it was probably about 2 a.m. It's a little motorcycle club, and we're in there doing stuff to keep us going. And I said, yeah, my kid wants me to go to this dang religious, of course I didn't say dang, I probably said it more
Right.
colorful, religious event.
Yeah.
And I went home. I got home about 6 a.m. and I drank some coffee, getting ready, because I owned an air conditioning, heating, commercial refrigeration company.
Okay.
I was a functioning addict and alcoholic, and probably not the best husband, not the best father at the time. And I just sat there, and I thought I got to go to work, and I fell asleep. 3:30, I woke up. I think God was preparing my heart for the battle that I was going to ensue that day.
Right,
I got to the Promise Keepers event, and I walked around going, look at all these guys that I know, that I do work for, and I didn't know they were Christians.
Wow.
I didn't know, I know they're good guys.
Sure.
I didn't know. And I started to get angry at what I perceived as my people, these Chicano guys that were up there, and they were on their knees crying. And I thought, well, how in the world is that?
Yeah.
And this guy, and I'm yelling at him, and Ron Clymer tells me, guy, you need to calm down. So that was the first day at Promise Keepers. The next day I went, I was looking for every excuse to get out of it, watching guys take cuts. That's what I perceived it as.
Sure.
But what they were doing is they were looking for their buddies from their church, and my son's telling me to calm down, and I left that place like a drowning man. I was driving home. We lived on Shaw and Fowler, and I could see through my life where men and some women came along and tried to turn me and tried to make me a better person. And I would never listen to it, and my Uncle Guy was one of them. My mom, she would always try and, she grew up a Catholic.
Right.
And would, drop me off, me and my buddy Gilbert and Danny, and we would, go in the front door of the school and walk out the back and head to 7-Eleven with that money we were supposed to tithe.
Sure.
And the stories just in my brain were just going on and on and on. And that was it. I never did drug after that. About 6 months later, I quit drinking. I was sitting at my pastor's house, and I just, what does it mean to know the Lord, to come to Christ? And he just told me, and I just accepted the Lord right there that
Wow.
day, and then went through this battle of a depression in my body, because I wasn't doing drugs no more. I wasn't drinking,
Oh, yeah.
and I just couldn't get up out of bed and walk and go see people, and our finances were going down, but we were able to pay the bills. And I watched this friend of mine on his knees, and I told my wife, I said, someday I hope I can get in front of everybody in the church and not be afraid, and get on my knees with my hands up, and just out of the blue, my wife says, unbelievable, he's dying. I said, what do you mean he's dying? Not on my watch.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't my watch to watch, but it was God's way of preparing me. Before, when somebody would die, it was no big deal. My friends would die. They just became a piece of meat.
Sure.
And to watch this guy die was not going to be. So I found him a place in San Jose to live for free, a place where he could get the special kind of cancer treatment he needed, everything he needed. And I'd love to tell you, Larry, man, I saved that man's life, but I didn't. He died.
Wow.
But he led 5 of my neighbors from my old neighborhood to Christ, guys that I never thought would love the Lord. And, this stuff just goes on and on and on, just watching until we ended up at this ranch where, I did videos for Christian men dying, helping them go to the bathroom, helping them to make these videos so when they did pass, they could leave a lasting impression on their family. And
I love it.
Stephen was the last one. He was 37 years old, brain cancer. He died. And I just put my hands in the air and I said, God, what else can we do? I understand you're telling me that death is precious. And off we went to another adventure. And then about 2008, we started to watch all our finances going backwards, even though we were busier than we'd ever been in our work, in our business. And it was God just pruning away all the bad stuff from us. And lo and behold, we ended up in a rental house, walking away from homes, walking away from a business, and not knowing what we were going to do.
Wow.
And I ended up fixing the electrical in that barn at that ranch. And God just put all the money we needed, everything we needed to get that place leased. And here we are today.
Don't you love how God takes what appears to be the worst situation and turns it for good?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
folks, you're listening to Powell to the People. I can't believe how fast these segments go, but this is where civility is always in style, and you're listening to my good friend, Guy Adams from Heart of the Horse. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Powell to the People. Write it down.
Hey, and our Facebook folks, thanks so much for joining us. Guy is one of those really remarkable people who has done some amazing things. And when you hear more of the story, you'll be wanting to send this on to your friends and share it around. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you can help financially, too, in the future.
On the best talk in town.
Hey, well, welcome back to Powell to the People, where civility is always in style. And you're listening to Guy Adams, a really good friend of mine who is doing some amazing work with horse therapy. And many of you have read about things like this, but remarkable when you look at the clientele and the group of people that are being served by the Heart of the Horse Therapy Ranch, and a lot of great things that are taking place. Guy, welcome back. We're glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
So you went from almost nothing to this ranch. Where's the ranch located?
We're just east of Clovis, and we always say God has a funny sense of humor. We started that ranch with $1,300 a month. We had $150 in our bank account, and my wife worked for a church, Loma Vista Community Church, for 18 years. And we live amongst some really cool people.
Yeah.
We say he's got a sense of humor because he puts us in this gated community. We're surrounded by people who make a lot of money. And I haven't taken a paycheck in 11 years.
Wow.
My wife is a little above 24,000. She's our only paid employee.
Man.
We are a true ministry and a true nonprofit that just doesn't believe in, we're not trying to buy everybody a house. We're trying to help every child we can. Pre-COVID, we were doing 200 sessions a month with medically fragile children.
Wow.
So those are kids with rare genetic disorders, kids with missing limbs, traumatic brain injury, coming through cancer, heart operations, lung operations, you name it. And, we just try and make them better.
It really is amazing. There's something about the spirit of a horse that relates to people, and people relate to that spirit in the horse. And the horse just senses that they're doing something special.
They do.
It's really fascinating. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, if you get a chance, go to our Facebook or go to our YouTube, and you will see a new video we just put up. And it's a new horse that we just put through our training process to be a therapy horse. His name is Cowboy with a K. He's a lazy K horse.
I love it.
And this guy, when he sees those kids come in, he ignores everybody, and he just wants to go visit with them. Kids in their wheelchairs that are up on the ramp. We take them over, and he smells them and touches with his nose at their face. And then he just gets ready, and off we go.
Wow.
It just blows my mind how many of these horses we have that are like this. We have horses like Bandit who have been in elevators, who have done last rite visitations in facilities for people that want to smell and touch a horse for the last time of their life.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Now, the group that you work with, you work with veterans, but you also work with the medically fragile. I know a lot of in families, if you're out there and you've got a medically fragile, child in your family, you need to hear this. How does it work? if I've got a kid in a wheelchair, how do you get them on the horse? How do you, move them around? What is it you do to make sure they're going to be safe while they're on there?
Safe? What's that? We're putting them on a horse.
I love it.
Every child is put up there safely. We put them up from a ramp. These horses are used to it. They're trained with wheelchairs. I also have a
So nothing spooks them.
Nothing spooks. Well, no, nothing spooks them, but we'll never say there is no perfect horse.
Sure.
But I have a therapy dog named Daisy, and the training that she went through, I do the exact same training with the horses. So if you come in our barn and you go to our training room, it's just a stall with a bunch of wheelchairs, gate walkers, IV racks, you name it. Anything they'll see in a hospital situation, they see there. And we train them with all that. We clean them. We take people that are good of body and throw them up on the horses and move them around and let the horses be followed by people with walkers and everything. And the final test is we get everybody, and everybody's rude to the horse, and it's not being mean, just rude. Get out of my way. I'm in a hurry. Get out of my way. And we just waltz this horse back and forth. And when the horse is cool with it, then we start. And what makes horse therapy special, it's movement. We use different types of horse. We have the usual quarter horse. We have Arab horses. We have Pasafinos. These horses all have a different gait and a different movement. So if we want to work with a child to get their endorphins firing, we could put them on a horse that's going to seem to be going faster. And that would be like a Pasafino.
Okay.
If we have a child with a weak core and we want them to get more of a forward back movement, we'll put them on the Arab. If we want a child who's never walked and been in a wheelchair his whole life, and they want to feel what it feels like to have their shoulders move and that John Travolta swag.
Oh yeah, I love it.
We put them on the quarter horse, and we support them. This is going to sound kind of goofy. We support them, but we don't hold them.
Yes.
We are there for them, and we let them do as much as they can possible. They all get a half hour. Very few of our medically fragile children can do up to 15 minutes. It's a lot of movement and it's a lot of exercise. I have a young lady who came out. Her parents carried her everywhere. When they first put her up on the horse, they're adjusting her arms, they're adjusting her legs, and they're telling me this child doesn't move and doesn't make noises. And we adjust our hands with the back rider. Now we have somebody on the back of the horse with this child.
Okay.
As we start to move, this child's brain starts thinking this isn't something usual. And we loosen up, or the back rider loosens up. And pretty soon you see hands moving, you see feet moving, you hear noises coming out of the mouth.
Wow.
And it's just amazing to watch them. Well, these are movements that a child doesn't usually make. And now we're getting them to do it. And guess what? We're getting that child better.
Oh, I love it.
I'd love to say it's a guy's awesome, but it's like Jack says, it's not a guy thing. Guy's not that smart. It's a God thing. And it is.
And it's unique. I had polio, as most of my listeners know, in 1949. I was 9 months old when I contracted polio. But I was so blessed because my parents didn't stop me from doing anything. And basically, when I got home at that young age, I had been walking for 6 months, when I got home. So at 15 months old, I couldn't walk. Boom. Dad said to Mom, let him get up on his own.
Yep.
And so I learned very early through their love for me by being disciplined enough to let me get up that I could get up. And I love what you're doing, because what happens is in those brains of those children that are medically fragile, they're learning new things they can do, and they're understanding. So I'll bet their anticipation to be there and wanting to be there increases with, the integral between when they go and when they go the next time. Probably they want to shorten that.
Oh, we hear all the time. I hear people, oh, you know what? I told, I'll just say little Billy, that we were going to the ranch today, and his day brightened up. We have kids who, they'll come out there and like kids with autism or something, and they'll fight. They don't want to get on the horse, but once they're up there, that we're having to move. And we had a child say grandma for the first time.
Wow.
Grandma.
Wow.
And his grandma about fell over. And we're able to get these words, and it's all movement,
Yeah. There's something God built into us with movement that is so valuable, and that cadence and rhythm of a horse, is one of those things that I know God knew what he was doing when he built a horse.
Yeah.
And then when he built Guy to use that horse in a certain way,
Well, I would have loved to have somebody like your parents to write a book about what they did for you, because there's a lot of times we're working with the parents.
Sure.
They think we're working with their kids, but we're dropping hints, don't coddle this kid.
Yes.
Make this child do stuff on their own. One of my board members, her son at 27 said, "Mama." And she looked at me and she said, "Do you have an attorney on your board of directors?" I said, "No." She says, "You do now."
Oh, I love it.
And when we hear her stories about what her son does, she says, people say, well, they see him wheeling in, and she says, "What at home he doesn't. If he gets out of bed, he wants a breakfast, he's got to get up to the table on his own."
That's fantastic.
And in today's society, that sounds mean, but it's not.
No, it isn't.
And that's
no,
not.
it isn't.
It's love.
Well, and what was hard for my folks' dad told mom, said, "Don't pick him up."
Yeah.
Well, what's a mother's heart?
Exactly.
A mother's heart is to pick them up if they're hurting,
Yeah.
and stuff. And as a result, I've never had trouble getting up. Wrestled in high school and
Yeah.
college, athletics, you name it. Able to do all kinds of things. Got a good handicap in golf, about 6 handicap in golf, so I hit the ball really well.
Nice.
Because I tell people I don't limp up here in my head, only down here in my
Exactly.
leg. So helping parents understand, let the kids do what they're capable of doing, because you probably underestimate what they're able to do.
Exactly.
And based on love, you're doing that, but it's not love in the long run when you keep them from being able to do what they're capable of doing.
Exactly.
So I wanted to read, your purpose that you have on your website. The Heart of the Horse Therapy Ranch offers a hands-on experience with horses to exceptional people of the Central San Joaquin Valley. I love that. Exceptional people who have a severe physical disability. We also work with our nation's heroes who have suffered a service-related injury or severe PTSD. Pretty amazing. The clientele that you work with are folks that I know they benefit so much from this, and we're going to learn more about what's going on at the Heart of the Horse Therapy Ranch. You're listening to Powell to the People, where civility is always in style, and my guest today is my good friend, Guy Adams. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Powell to the People. Write it down.
I get to talking, and I keep wanting to look and say, okay, how much time do I have? But then I'm going, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Well, Facebook folks, what a neat session this is today with Guy Adams and Carrie. Obviously, the two of them have put together one of those unique, powerful moments for kids and veterans here in the Valley. And I know you've got just a ton of people that want to be out there, and volunteers. I want to talk a little bit about volunteers because I know you can use them. So we're going to be right back, folks.
On the best talk in town.
Hey, well, welcome back to Powell to the People, where civility is always in style. And what a unique conversation we have today with Guy Adams from Horse of the Therapy Ranch, Heart of the Therapy Ranch with horses. Amazing things when you think about some of the things that he's doing. As county superintendent of schools, when I was in that job, we worked with the medically fragile. We worked with kids who had light bulbs on their head that were connected so they could figure that, put it on a computer so they could talk. They literally couldn't do anything for themselves, we thought, until we get them in the classroom and realize what they're capable of doing. Yeah. The idea of riding a horse, you're going, oh, I don't know about that. And then all of a sudden we see what takes place at the Heart of the Horse Therapy Ranch, where Guy has volunteers putting kids, medically fragile kids and veterans, on horses, and that cadence and rhythm that comes from being on a horse just translates to them physically, and then emotionally and spiritually, and in a lot of ways supports them. Tell us a little bit about, I know you can't do all this work by yourselves.
No.
You need a lot of volunteers. Tell me, what's it like? How do you get to be a volunteer? What makes a good volunteer?
The good volunteer is just someone who shows up.
Yeah.
We train them and we get them, out there and
So they don't have to know stuff to get
They don't
there.
have to know stuff, and they don't have to be horse savvy. They don't have to be, it's kind of funny. We get these people out there and they come and they, you talk about moms and moms wanting to take care of children. And we put them up there, these kids up there, and they just want to just support them. And they go to put their hands in their back. And I said, no, don't put your hand back there. Let them sit up.
Yeah.
And it's so hard for them to not be a mom or a grandma.
Sure.
But we utilize about 70 Fresno State students a year.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we have quite a few retirees that come out. The VVA, Vietnam Veterans of America, we keep a board member one of them on our board of directors at all times.
Fantastic.
And they come out every Wednesday and do projects for us. We have clubs like the Wise Club, and they come out and they're right now they're working on a fence. And we have different church groups that come out, Loma Vista and others that come out and do projects for us and clean stuff up.
Because a ranch doesn't take care of itself either.
No.
So not only the therapy of the horse and the child or the veteran on it, but it's taking care of the environment the horse lives in.
Yeah.
And that whole thing. So you could use carpenters, you can use folks who can do repair work, folks who are just interested in donating their heart for this Heart of the Therapy ranch.
Well, it's funny too, because we get volunteers out there. We have a really neat lady that quite horse savvy named Shirley Davis that just started coming out, and she whispered to me one day. She goes, "You know what? I feel bad." I said, "Why?" She goes, "Because this is therapy for me." She goes,
"The volunteering."
Yes, the volunteering. And it's amazing to watch these volunteers and how it changes their lives.
Yeah.
When somebody's put up on a horse and they're holding a medically fragile child, and we're watching that person, and then we have other people watching the child, and so there's 5 of us moving along with this horse.
Wow.
And they get off. There's a lot of happy tears, and then you hear, I felt that body move. This lump of clay that just wasn't moving. I felt it rigid up and move hands and felt muscle and
that
hurt.
Core felt something they hadn't felt in a long time, if ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's to be a volunteer out there for me, it's amazing. That's all I am. I'm blessed to live on the property, but God didn't put us out there to make money.
Yep.
One of the things we were getting ready to do some fundraising, and we had a guy who was going to help us, and he talked to some friends of his and stuff, and he came back. He goes, maybe I'm going to help someone else because I just can't see you guys being sustainable. We were talking. He's talking about his business buddies, and you don't charge nobody. You don't have. There's no revenue coming in. There's no this. There's no that, and God did not build our mission as a money-making deal. But guess what? God did not let us fail during COVID. We haven't had a fundraiser since 2019.
Yeah, I know that.
We generally have.
I'm at most of your fundraisers.
Yeah, you certainly are. I think you emceed a couple.
Yeah.
We normally have a cowboy concert at People's Church, and then we
Sonny Coelho and
Sonny Coelho, and Jack Hanna and some amazing talent, Dave Stamey, and then we have the Sonny Coelho band for our dinner dance, and our dinner dance is exactly what it sounds like, a dinner dance. I had a guy named Matt Garza, used to play for the Brewers.
Oh, yeah,
He tells me, he goes, that was one of the best fundraisers I've ever been to. You guys didn't bleed all over us for money. And that's not what we do. We want you to come in. Yeah, we've got an auction going on. I'll get up and talk about what we do. And then we have dinner. And then guess what? Let's do some dinner and dancing.
Yeah, I love it.
Sonny Coelho comes up, starts the music, and we dance. And that's it. We thank everybody for coming out and those, for blessing us with their presence. And off we go.
If they feel led to donate, then donate. But
exactly.
I'm telling you, folks, Guy won't, but I will. you need to donate to Heart of the Horse, and if you go to their website, and your website is heartofthehorses.org,
Yeah.
and there's a spot on there for donations. They can simply go on the website, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to do, because horses, they don't eat lightly.
No.
Just the feed. You've got a laundry list, in fact, of the things that are needed. In fact, I was looking on your website. You're in need of alfalfa, grains, mini flake shavings for stalls, manure rakes, wheelbarrows, new halters, new lead ropes. I mean, you've got a laundry list, but also you need cash, and cash helps to deliver the things that you need to deliver through this whole thing as well.
Yeah.
So if somebody's got access to some of these things, they can simply get a hold of you. And what phone number is the best to call you?
You can call it 559-297-7100. Or if you need to talk to me personally, 559-287-3841.
Got it. So if you want to call the Horse Ranch, you can call 297-7100. You can call Guy directly on his cell at 287-3841. Go to their website, though, and check that out, because there are a lot of really good things. You might just have some resources sitting around that you can do some things that are pretty amazing. Now, equine assistant and facilitated therapy is what you do.
Yes.
Basically. And I've read up on it and read a lot about it because of the medically fragile kids that I worked with as county superintendent. And also when I was principal at Kings Canyon Middle School, we had 12 really severely medically fragile kids. Yeah. And we're talking about volunteers right now. I would take some of the hardest core kids in school and assign them to make sure that these medically fragile kids would get from location from one classroom to another around campus. And you know what? They really stepped up, and they began to love these kids and realize that there was something doing something for somebody else that was really special. You talk about learning when you're there, and volunteers, these kids that took my medically fragile kids around in their wheelchairs, nobody got in front of them, or bumped them. They made sure that, that pathway was open and you don't mess with my kid, because that became part of their project.
Yeah. And it's funny because you brought that up. The way I grew up, that's what I did quite a bit. We had Michael Craig. We had quite a few different guys and young ladies at our school that were medically fragile. Yeah. And people would pick on them, and I could not see that. That is not going to happen on my watch.
Well, and God's given you another watch now.
Oh, yeah.
That is pretty unique. I also wanted to talk to you. We're going to talk about the property that you have, but Jack Hanna.
Yes.
Jack Hanna is a longtime friend of mine and of yours. And Sons of the San Joaquin, I have, I think, every disc that they ever made. Yeah. Fantastic thing. He was an educator, as I was. He was at Hoover High School, went to Clovis West. He was a teacher, a coach, a counselor, has thousands of kids across the valley that have been in his classes, and he's had a profound impact on them. But I've talked to him personally about this, and he does this as a testimony every place he goes. He said he realizes what his job is from now until he dies. Yes. And that is to support the Heart of the Horse Ranch, because he's found something, and he's a horse guy to begin with, but he also combines that heart for kids with the horses and his love of horses, and it works out in Heart of the Horse Ranch. You bet. He's an amazing guy. Tell me what he does for you.
Well, Jack showed up one day, and I didn't know who he was. I had seen him around. I didn't know much about the Sons of the San Joaquin. And he says, I was sent out here to vet you guys because you're working with a good friend of mine's grandkids.
Oh, I love it.
And
he would investigate, too.
Oh, yeah. So he followed me around for 3 days. And then this one day, he calls me over. Hey, come here. I walked over, and he just whispers to me. Of course, everyone could still hear it.
Sure.
Are you going to put that kid on that horse? I said, yeah.
Wait. He knows horses.
Yeah, and he says, you're going to take that kid out of that wheelchair, put him on that horse. I said, I am, Jack. Okay. And he fell apart. He says to me, this is what I need to do the rest of my life. He goes, I'm shocked. He goes, horses have always helped me. And this is Jack speaking. And he goes, now I'm watching him help these kids. He goes, can I be on your board of directors? And I said, sure. He goes, he goes, I'll be on it till the day I die.
Well, God sent him there that day.
Oh, he did.
And those subsequent days.
Yes.
To make a difference. And folks, we're on the end of our third segment. Hard to believe how quick the time goes. And I'll tell you what, Guy, amazing what you're doing. We're going to talk more about a couple of needs that you have in our fourth segment here. But you're listening to Powell to the People, where civility is always in style. And we're just glad to have you with Guy Adams today.
You're listening to Powell to the People. Write it down.
When it comes to buying the front jacket, it's very emotional. That guy cries all the time. I want that place bought. So then the owner of the property said, "You guys need to buy it." I told Jack, "You just about lost it. You need to get this done." Okay.
Good. Good.
People on the best talk in town.
Hey, well, welcome back to our last segment for the day. Time just goes so fast here, and I love the guests that we've had. And today we've got Guy Adams from Heart of the Horse Therapy Ranch. And, being an educator, Guy, I love kids. I always have. That's been part of my heart is for kids. And having had polio and then having been assistant superintendent for special education in Fresno Unified at part of my career, I've seen kids in all states, every kind of challenge that you could possibly have. And I just love what I see. And I've seen most of your videos of what happens when that kid gets on a horse for the first time, and that smile. And it's not only just smiles in the face, but it's smiles of the body.
The body, that's right.
And you're seeing them like this excitement that is beyond description. Yeah. And unless you see it, it's hard to describe how unique it is for them. And to get that cadence and rhythm of that horse as it moves, and the protection around them to help make sure that they're going to be safe while they're up there. But they begin to develop this inner confidence that they didn't have before. It's absolutely remarkable to see. And I was looking at your website again. You work with doing treatments for cerebral palsy, for muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis, traumatic brain injury, sensory impairment, loss of hearing or sight, Down syndrome, autism, missing limbs, PTSD, and many other disabilities. I don't think there's a disability that you don't bring them in for.
No, we get them all.
It's really remarkable. But I want to make sure we cover in this segment, right now you're renting the place.
We are.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what's your typical monthly cost for the rent of the place?
Well, our strokes are about $10,000 a month.
Okay.
And recently I get a call from the owner of the property that she would really like us to buy it, and which was exciting for us.
Sure.
And I'd like to go back just a little bit to the beginning of when this started. So when we took over that ranch, we did not know what we were doing. I was bringing horses off the track and making them into trail horses. And we had a couple people in there renting. That didn't work out. And a guy showed up with his daughter from Morgan Hill. And what made me think of this is when you were talking about the looks of the body. He wanted his daughter to pet the horse. And I said, "Sir, this horse is fresh off the racetrack. It's a stallion. I can't
they're
let
strong.
Yes, and I can't
unpredictable.
I can't let this wheelchair, that wheelchair get near him. I'm afraid, The guy got mad at me. Off he went. And that night I went home and I just, God put her face. And I just said, "What are you trying to tell me?" And I went and found a horse, and I went with $500. My wife was madder than a hornet. We don't have money.
Yeah.
Don't take that $500.
Right.
I came home with a $10,000 horse for free.
Wow.
I went and tried to get walkers and wheelchairs and everything we needed to train that horse, like I said, like a therapy dog. And I couldn't buy any of it because people were just giving it to us.
Wow.
And we got that horse trained up. We brought that little girl out.
Same little girl.
Same little girl. All the way from Morgan Hill. I had a heck of a time talking to Dad into coming back.
Sure.
Two guys from church went out there with me. They looked at me like I was nuts when they saw that little girl. And we put her up.
I bet they were praying.
Oh, yeah. Big time. We put her up on that horse, and we watched this little girl who leaned forward in the wheelchair, who was strapped in with shoulder straps and a belly strap,
I've seen that. Yeah.
fight to sit up tall. This big smile emerged, and the color of her face totally changed. And it was like God just slap. I went, okay, I get it.
Wow.
You know, fast forward, we're doing 200 sessions per month, and we're not charging anybody a dime. And we're trying to buy the property now. We're going to buy the property because it's in God's plans, not mine.
Yeah.
And we're going to take that center section. We're going to make a sensory trail, sight, smell, sound. That trail could be utilized with a walker, with a wheelchair, on the back of a horse. We already have the blueprints made. A local attorney said, "I want to help you guys. I'll pay for those blueprints." She was out listening.
Yeah, fantastic.
To our story and what we wanted to do. I'm waiting to get somebody out to give me a bid on covering our arena. And then there's a company in town that we're going to talk to about setting up a therapy room for training future physical therapists and mental therapists on how to work with kids.
Wow.
And taking that type of equipment with them.
Wow.
So we've got some lofty goals, but to me, the money just sounds outrageously a lot. But you talk to other people and they say that's not much in the scheme of things. So we're going to try and raise $2 million.
Okay, good.
$1 million of that gets us the property, and the other part gets us the improvements, and then that'll put about $500,000 into a trust fund, so we can have employees, a couple of them, and never have to worry about charging anybody. That's not our goal.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, it's just,
Well, you know what? I'd like to kick that fund off, so I'm going to pledge $1,000 right now, just to say, hey, folks, come on, you've got some extra money sitting around. Let's get this started so that we can see that Heart of the Horse Therapy Ranch owned and directed completely by Guy and Carrie Adams, and just get it ready to go. And
that would be that would be fabulous. And one of the things is, it's not going to be in Guy and Carrie Adams' name either.
Yeah,
it'll be in a trust for the Heart of the Horse.
Yeah,
and when we're done, somebody else will run it. It's going to be a entity that's going to last forever.
Well, I love it. Well, I'll tell you what. You got guys like Jack Hanna. You've got a whole bunch of folks that are really, situated, doing everything they can to help. And folks, those of you who are listening, somebody who has some resources. Somebody who's got a $10,000 sitting on the side there, and they got a choice. They can invest it in something that's going to be very short-lived, or they can invest it in something that's going to be a long time. Heart of the Horse Therapy Ranch is one place they could put that money, and it would go to really good use. And I just would encourage you, take advantage of these opportunities when they come up, that you can do something that is sustainable, that's going to literally change hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lives.
You bet.
And it's remarkable. And how long have you been operating now?
We're in our 11th year.
Well, that's hard to believe.
Yeah.
I remember when you started, but 11 years.
It's been 11 years.
That's like, wow.
It's flown by.
Yeah.
And it's just been an amazing ride for us, and one of the things we have to do in the summer is close because of the heat and the bad air. A lot of the kids that we work with at 88 degrees,
that's
they're
hard.
done.
Yes.
Yeah. And then with the bad air, they're even more done.
Right.
So, this last year we did some camps for CASA kids.
Gotcha.
And then we head up to a place called the Diamond P in West Yellowstone, Montana. And Carrie and I save our money. We pay our own way. The ranch isn't paying for it. They only pay for our diesel.
Wow.
And we work with kids up there. We have groups from like Pocatello, Idaho, bring, kids with Down syndrome out, and we put them up on horses. We've had, and then you sit there and go, all these awards we've won and all these people that get involved with us, and we're up there, and all of a sudden we're on a TV show. The Best of America by Horseback on RFD TV.
Wow.
They come out and do a segment on us, and it just blows my mind. We've been in the Wall Street Journal. We've been in Stars and Stripes all over the world. We've LA Times, and the Bee, the front page, and we're in Hall of Fames and
Yeah.
California Nonprofit of the Year, California Image Award winner with Levi Strauss and Knott's Berry Farm as our partners in that award. And I just sit there and I'm in shock that God has taken us to this place where we get to, soar with the eagles.
I love it.
And help these children get better.
Well, I want to remind folks that Heart of the Horse Therapy Ranch just is doing some amazing work. I want to remind you of the website, Heart of the Horses, that's with an S.org. You can go online and you can find out about how to donate. You can learn more about them, how to contact them. All that information is there. You can also learn about the anytime you're going to have a concert, the cowboy concert and all those things, the dinner that you're going to have. And volunteers, if you, would like to have your life changed in a really positive way, donate some time. They don't have to be there every day. They can donate a couple hours a week or whatever works for them. I just would encourage them to do that,
What we have is 2 sessions a day. We have the morning session, evening session, afternoon, I should say.
Yeah.
And we have a whole different group of volunteers at each session.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, folks, it's hard to believe we're down to our last minute here. Guy, I'm going to encourage our listeners. They need to step up and help you buy that ranch. $2 million will do it. And folks, there are a lot of you out there I know can do something about this. And you're going to do something for a lot of medically fragile kids. You're going to do something for our veterans who are struggling with PTSD and a variety of other things. Heart of the Horse Therapy Ranch with equine therapy and all the things that are taking place with that. There's a place for you to volunteer. You simply need to contact them. And remember, you can call 297-7100, and that will get you to the Heart of the Horse. You can call 287-3841 and talk to Guy himself, and he will direct you what you need to do. Thank you so much, Guy Adams, for being here today. This has been really good. I'm feeling good. I'm going to have to go out and ride a horse. That's what I've got to do. Hey, listen, thank you so much for being with us on Powell to the People, where civility is always in style. We look forward to hearing from you again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Talk about riding a horse.